Suspect arrested for stealing a motorbike stuns the police with a confession that he had murdered the wife.
Particularly 22 years. Further confessed to the police that he killed his wife, one Abigail Akosua, aged 20, out of misunderstanding that ensued between him and the wife.
Greater Accra Regional Minister describes operation to keep revelers off the beaches as successful.
Commenced operations on Friday. First day was good, second day very good, third day perfect, and today I say super excellent.
We've been doing our own checks and we'll share that with you. In business, Ghana Cedi expected to replicate last year's performance after modest gains in first quarter of this year.
Speculative attack that the cedi used to experience before October 2009 to a large extent has been brought under check from the forward sales strategy adopted.
And over 300 children are getting knocked down to and from school.
Here you have class 1 to 6 pupils dying. So a whole school stream is wiped off every year. That is how serious the situation looks.
My name is Israel. Johnny's Prime is coming to you live from our Fanafa studios at Kokomlimle here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is a home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. The Food and Drugs Authority has cautioned the public against the sale and consumption of the fish that was washed ashore some beaches of the country in the last few days, as they could pose significant health and safety risks. It is not clear what may have caused the fishes to wash ashore, but the phenomenon created a spectacle that drew many indigents to the beaches, with reports indicating some of the fish were sold off. The FDA says it has collected samples for analysis. The authority says the public should report all suspected cases of the possession or sale of the washed ashore fishes. We'll be getting some updates from the FDA, but Joy News' Mamiesi Nyamicha Thompson reports on the fishes washed ashore.
Fish seen in various sizes were scattered along the shore of the Osu beach. Some residents were seen gathering them, though skeptical about its wholesomeness. A resident who spoke to Joy News recounted what happened.
I'll say we saw this yesterday around 10 a.m. But normally this used to happen seasonally. So we thought it's normal, as we know. But later we find out that it's not normal, because the number of fishes that are coming out and the way they are washing out from the sea is not normal. At that time, people have already collected some to market and other places, consume it. We thought it will end, but this morning we realized it still continues. So we have to come and stop everybody from picking it.
Chief fisherman for the area, Ni Tete Apo Jamloja VI, is worried consumers may no longer want to purchase their catch. Given that there was such clamor for this fish at the beach yesterday, it is possible it has already made its way onto the market. The Municipal Health Directorate and the Ghana Standards Authority are said to have taken samples for investigations. The Municipal Chief Executive for Clote Kole, Nia Ajay Teria, says the Assembly has taken some steps to ensure that people don't consume it.
We are stopping people from taking the fish from here. We've gone on air to explain to the public. Also, we have our public address systems, vans going out to announce that if people bring fish into the townships, etc., to sell their cheap or whatever, they shouldn't be patronizing it because of this.
Right, joining us on Zoom now is Roderick Dadeje, who's the Deputy CEO for the Food and Drugs Authority. We'll be speaking with him shortly, but this phenomenon also occurred somewhere in Axim, and Ina Thalia Kwanza joins us to tell us a bit more about what happened there. Hello, Ina. I want you to tell us what exactly happened in or at Axim? Because it turns out that we had some dolphins washing up onto that shore.
Yes, Israel. So yesterday around 12:30 at Bonre in the Nzima East municipality of the Western region, at one of the shores, particularly Bonre, they saw dolphins coming to the shore, about 60 of them. But this morning when we got there, they said it's close to 300. And then for the residents there, they tell us that once in a while they see one dolphin and they do sell it out. But this time it became alarming and it caught the eye of the public because of the numbers which were coming out to the shore. At that moment, we saw pictures circulating on social media. So we went there this morning. Unfortunately, when we went there, the Fisheries Commission, together with the Food and Drugs Board Authority here in the Western region, with some allied agencies, were also there to ascertain it for themselves, because some of the residents there had already taken some of these dolphins to their house and sold some out already, even though opinion leaders say they had warned that they shouldn't take them because medically it has not been ascertained if they could eat it. But since they also had the notion that once in a while they see some around and they sell it, they felt it was good for consumption. So today, over there, the FDA had gone there to take from those who had still had it in their homes. And then they had also gone to inquire if they had sold it to people outside in Nzima East. If they could trace them, they could get them and then bury them, and started education with the community and then on radio that dolphins are not good for consumption. And so if anyone has it, they should bring it for them to bury. I was fortunate to meet the CPP chair, who said she was there yesterday during one of her own visits to the community. I had seen these dolphins. She purchased some at a price of 400 cedis because she was a bit skeptical that if she had left it there, the community members would have eaten, and she wasn't sure what was going to happen because for her, she knew that it was dangerous to consume the dolphins.
To find out as a nation, as a people, is why were they coming out of the place? There has to be a reason. They were coming. It's not like someone even lured them. They were rushing to the shore. There must be a reason. I don't want us to think that this is any spiritual or something. There is a reason why the fish came. And I'm asking and all the authorities of this country who have the resources and to do this, please find out what happened. Otherwise, what are we supposed to do? Indeed, the ones that died, if it's indeed the chemical spill that we are hearing, then what would have happened to the citizens here and the people of this place if they are eating and consuming some of them? And then some of them were sold. We're talking about over 300 pieces. Over 300 pieces. This is not anything. If it has to do with, and I'm sure if we want to find out what it is, we'll find out. So that's the appeal we are making to the president of the country. If he intervenes, it's done. Because the authorities might not themselves get up to vote. Somebody must make it happen. We've done our best. We pay so much money. We feel like we've done our best. And for me, that's it. I'm sad. But hey, what can we do?
Right, so we go over now to the Deputy CEO of the Food and Drugs Authority, Roderick Dade AJ. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, you've heard what actually transpired at Axim. How similar, or is there any connection between the two incidents, the one here in Greater Accra and the one at Axim?
Yeah, I believe obviously there will be a connection. I mean, it's not something that is normal. I remember talking to our regional officers. So far, what we know is that it's along the Accra coastal line. Surprisingly, when it reached Cape Coast area, it jumped. We don't seem to have those kinds of reports. Then it's reoccurring in the Western region. So I think whatever we see happening is something bigger than what we see. And I believe that the Fisheries Department in due time would be able to come up with the right reasons.
Were there any dolphins in Greater Accra, on the beaches at Greater Accra?
Well, I mean, so far as I have seen, because I was at the beach myself to observe what was happening, we didn't see something like this. In fact, even some are saying dolphin, some are saying a blue-nosed whale. That is in terms of the type of species that we are seeing. But so far, we haven't seen within this sector, that's Accra, this one. I had a discussion with somebody, one of the authorities, and he was saying that he had seen, should I say, fingerlets, if there's such a thing, of the smaller bits of some of these species. But for me, I think the whole thing is not normal, as you see, especially it's different species of fish that you saw coming. Why aren't we seeing sharks? Why aren't we? But you are seeing other types of. So I'm sure there must be some biology behind whatever is going on, and I believe that in due course, the Fisheries Department would come up with the reasons.
All right. We also got the notice from you, the FDA, that the public should not consume these fishes. What is it that you're picking up?
All right, okay. Normally, when we talk about food registration or when we are dealing with food, we know what we call food hazards. There may be three forms of it: the physical hazard, the chemical hazard, or a biological hazard. And sometimes you could even rate food allergens probably as a fourth hazard if you don't look at it as a chemical hazard. So these things, when they occur in food, makes it dangerous to consume. So you'd never know what has happened to have these species all just coming in. In fact, we have what we call zoonosis, diseases that affect animals that may transmit straight into man. You see COVID and its problems that is brought to us. Some think that it came from what we call wet markets. So you want to err on the side of caution. If you cannot explain a certain phenomenon, the best would be not to touch that food source. And in any case, human beings as it is, we kill what we want to eat. To have the opportunity to say that, okay, this was a healthy animal before. Now this thing comes in dead. So why you would even want to pick it? I think if you see a goat dead by the roadside, normally you wouldn't get people just going to pick it up. So why would you want to go pick something that is coming straight from the sea? That you see that this animal is in obvious pain. They are writhing on the surface. They are dying, and you think it's okay to pick to it. I think that's another level we have to come. So we want to prevent Ghanaians from doing that.
From the indications, it appears, at least from what we're hearing in Exim, the dolphins have entered the food chain, as in people have consumed them. Do you get a similar sense in Greater Accra?
We even probably, should I say, have evidence, because on our rounds, we started the surveillance long before this. And what we have been able to gather so far, the trail that we followed, the normal thing is that where they get the fish from, let's say behind the Black Star Square, they get the fish, and then there's this market called Mandela Market. That is just a short distance off. That's where they go and then they sell.
Right.
So we traced from there. And when we went, at least we were happy to see, number one, the people over there were very conscious of what they had, what had happened. They were even able to talk about the species that they had seen. And what we saw on the market, we were able to examine, look at their gills. It was red, it was fresh, the smell was characteristic. So the inspection that we did on the spot was okay. And then they had been, they got them through hook, that is a hook and line. So you could see the marks. So these were not something that had been harvested, should I say, by net. So it was something different. They were fresh. It was a different catch. It was not part of what we are seeing.
All right. So that's what's being sold at the Mandela Market. But could there be the possibility that some of that that was caught from the beaches went straight to people's homes and into people's kitchens?
You are right. I mean, on following up, because we didn't only stop at the market, we actually also went into homes. And that's where you can see that sometimes people are a bit difficult, because some did bear testimony that when it came, they saw the fishes coming in. Some of them picked some, and they had actually consumed them. Whilst others too said, well, they had a few pieces, and we asked that then they should surrender them, because we want to ensure that we get rid of them. And more or less, they then started changing their story that, oh, well, what it is, it's not true, and that kind of thing. So we continued, and we came across a place where somebody had actually prepared. We know more money. The person had actually prepared and was drying, but when we got there, there was no owner. So we just had to put everything together, and then we had to discard it and bury it. So and then we continued. So we're doing education, going on along. Some even told their stories that yes, they had heard it, and they are hoping that when they hear the reports of tests that we do, if it's okay, then they would want to consume it. And we said, no, we don't think this is a good thing for you. You need to surrender it. So we've been doing it educational. We've been letting them understand what it is to take in something which you do not know what it could do to you. And it's been working. We have gone to the places where they smoke the fish, because like you said, if somebody took dolphin and then they cut it, you can bet one of the things that they will go to do will be to try to smoke it so that they will go and sell. So we have cautioned, done education on the radios, just as we are doing right now, that please, if you see someone selling something that, let's say smoked the fish, that is unusually cheaper than what it is. If you can break a piece, you can smell it, and you get these signs, a bad smell, please make sure that you don't patronize it and you draw our attention. So we are continuing, and tomorrow we'll continue with it. It's not only in Greater Accra, it's in our regional office along the coast for Western region, for Volta region, and for the Central region. The officers are on high alert. It's a good report we had from Central region. They don't seem to have this phenomenon so far with the places that our officers have visited. We've seen pictures coming from those places, and this phenomenon has not happened there, and we are grateful to God for that.
All right, so what would you advise those who may have consumed it? What should they be looking out for just in case something goes wrong health-wise?
Well, I mean, if you get any signs of not being well, I think the best thing would be to consult your doctor. It's imperative. If you see something, maybe there are so many things that possibly could happen. It will depend on the type of hazard that exists in the product. But what we just advise is that if you have any challenges with health, please visit your health practitioner. That's what we would advise.
All right. Now, could there also be the possibility that some of the fishermen may have caught some of these fishes in the sea, but some of the fishes that are supposed to have died may have been caught up in the nets of some fishermen, which may have been brought ashore?
It could be possible. But it's amazing. Some of the interviews that we have with the fishermen, they are that experienced, and they do know their trade, because they do know. Normally, if you're trying to catch a fish, you throw out your net. Usually, they may be dragging the net on the seabed and pulling it along. So, for what we have observed now with this fish that has been washed ashore, most of them you see floating on the surface. as it is. And normally, you know, the behavior of fish would not be just to stay there. When it comes, let's say, there's a human presence. So they do know these things. So in terms of like ensuring that they don't get this type of catch. In fact, you'll be amazed that there are a few videos that we were able to take. There was this particular fisherman who was able to just on the top of the head name the local name, just name the different type of fishes that they had seen. So they are very experienced. Our fishermen, they are very experienced.
All right. All right, thank you very much for making time to speak with us. You're watching Joy News Prime, and we're taking a break. We're bringing you more. Do stay tuned.